So if you are considering buying a Nikon D800 or Canon 5D Mark III DSLR, or especially if you're trying to decide between the two, um, hopefully this will provide some good information because there's some real good reviews out there. And what I'll do is I'll put links in the description of this YouTube video, and that way you don't have to go back and forth. You can either watch the whole video and then go through the links, or pause the video and maybe do a right click and open the link in another tab, and then you can come back and continue the video right where you left off. The first one here is Kai from DigitalRevTV, and he has gone into some real good detail on both of the cameras. So you get a real good description, and you can see both of the cameras in action in a number of different environments. So this is one I'd highly recommend. SnapChick has some interesting videos, mainly on Nikon, because that's what she shoots. There's one that has close-up views of all the button positions. She calls it the body tour of the D800. So you can get a real good idea of whether you like the position of the buttons, and if that's the camera that's going to suit the way you like to shoot. Dave Dugdale from LearningDSLRvideo.com has some good 5D Mark III and Nikon D800 comparisons with respect to shooting video. So if you'd like to see how the two cameras compare in video, then that's a real good place to go and get that information. There are some good comparisons of the two cameras under low light conditions where you're going to need high ISO, but the one thing you'll notice on any of the comparisons is that the Nikon is about 2/3 of a stop brighter at the same ISO setting than the Canon cameras. For example, on a Nikon ISO 4000 is like ISO 6400 on the Canons. Even though the 5D Mark III has 2 stops more ISO range than the D800, if you take the 2 stops difference into account, it really is effectively more like 1 and 1/3 stops. So there's not as much of a difference between the capabilities of the two cameras in low light as the ISO range in the specs would kind of indicate. But NoFilmSchool has a good side-by-side comparison of the 5D Mark III and the 5D Mark II, its predecessor, and also the D800 in some low light conditions. Phil Bloom also has some comparisons of different ISOs, and again you'll see that 2/3 stops difference between the two cameras. If you're concerned about how fast the camera can shoot, that obviously depends on how fast of a compact flash or SD card you have in the camera. So when you're looking at the specs, it's telling you the maximum, but not based on any specific SD or compact flash storage card. Ron Galbraith has a real good database that tests each of the cameras with a variety of storage cards, and exactly what the write speeds are, and the burst rate for how many frames you can shoot in 30 seconds. If you don't have, if you're looking to buy the storage cards for your camera, this is definitely one place I'd recommend you go take a look. And then Snapsort.com, you can put in 2 different Canon camera models, and it will give you a fairly simple comparison of the two. So, for example, if you put in the Nikon D800 and the 5D Mark III, they pick the D800 as the winner between the two, and give you their reasons, which are included on this slide here also. So, in conclusion, looking at the various videos, one of the impressions I get is that they feel the Nikon D800 images are sharper, and I'm assuming that means they're using the camera default settings. So I think on the Canon 5D Mark III you can compensate for that a little bit if you go in to the picture style menu and then change the sharpness setting. The default is +3, and you can go all the way up to +7, and that way you can get the sharper images on the Canon also. And in fact, that's what I went with. That's the camera I went with, was the 5D Mark III, and I've got a link to the video that briefly explains why I went with the 5D Mark III over the Nikon D800. And the other thing was I felt I needed a taller, sturdier tripod. So I've got another video out there that demonstrates proper use of the smooth center column on the Giottos tripod that I got. There's also some other videos out there, of course, that I haven't included here. One that had been pointed out to me is the Art of the Image kind of review on the Nikon D800. It was pointed out 3 big reasons to buy the Nikon over the Canon. So if you want a second opinion, you might want to take a look at that. But there were a number of things that kind of bothered me about the reasons that he pointed out. So I've actually got a blog entry out there, and with the link is here, that kind of explains why I didn't agree with those 3 reasons that were pointed out in the Art of the Image video. So thanks for watching. Hope this helps, especially if you're looking to buy one of those 2 DSLRs that came out earlier this year, beginning of 2012. And good luck with your purchase. Thanks.